everyone, it's Shar. Welcome back to my channel and welcome to a new kind of a video for me. Listen, I love a haul. I love watching a haul. I love recording a haul. I love doing a haul myself. I think it's so interesting, especially when it comes to reading, to know what is on someone's radar. And I often use these kind of videos as a way to get a sense of what maybe I want to be on my TBR. But I also love my local library. And one of my goals is to read down my physical TBR, which means this year I'm not doing as much shopping for books, with a little caveat in that I've always done secondhand shopping. The majority of books that I own, I did get secondhand, usually for less than $3. So I will still do some of that, but for this channel, I really want to focus on library hauls because libraries are absolutely fantastic. In New York City especially, they're always coming under budget cuts. That is all to say, support your local library. And one of the easiest ways you can do that is just to utilize their resources. Go to the library, check books out, use their e-resources, go to their events. At the very least you can do is, if there's a book that you're excited to read, place a hold on it. Pick the book up. So I have an absolutely massive pile of books next to me, of books that I currently have checked out from the library that I'm working my way through. I figured we would do a little bit of a haul for what is on my radar, what I'm currently reading, what I've recently read, everything. So let's get into the video. I don't even have like a neat pile of books. They're literally just here in front of me. So I'm gonna pile them off to the side so that I can tell you about what I'm reading, what I've recently read, and as always, I'm fucking chaotic. So there's no order to this. It's literally just whatever is in my lap that we're gonna go through. With two very precarious stacks of books next to me, let's start with the books on my right. I picked up What the Hex by Jessica Clare. This is a book following a warlock. This warlock has been banned from performing any kind of magic because he was accused of doing something, and they completely banned him from magic. And in this world, warlocks and witches need familiars. Traditionally, we think of familiars as animals, but in this world, they are people with magical wells. They apprentice under warlocks and witches so they can become warlocks and witches themselves. So he illegally looks for a familiar and he finds that in her, our female main character. This is a romance. They do fall in love. You're gonna hear my full thoughts on this book very, very soon, but I gave it 3.75 stars. I thought that the first half was much weaker than the second half, and it took a lot for me to believe in their romance. And even then, by the end, I'm not sure that I do, but it's still a really fun time, and there are some people who do believe that Jessica Clare is the pen name for Ruby Dixon, so if that intrigues you, let it intrigue you. I also picked up What Lies in the Woods by Kate Alice Marshall. This is Kate Alice Marshall's one of her newest releases. I believe she came out with another new book very recently. I'm talking like this month in January. So What Lies in the Woods is a story of three friends who, for some reason or another, I think one of them was murdered, and then they lie about like who did it, that they saw someone, and this person is convicted, and it's many years in the future, and they're trying to solve the mystery. Honestly, I just really love Kate Alice Marshall, although I know that people who love Kate Alice Marshall didn't necessarily love this book, but I'm still curious to try it out, although I will be returning this to the library just because it recently came onto Kindle Unlimited, so I'll put this back into circulation and I'll read the book on KU instead, just so anyone who is excited to read this book can pick it up sooner. I saw this on Ashley's Little Library channel and I was very curious. This is The Drowning Woman, and of course they're library books, so they're a little shiny, but there you go, there's the up close version of it. The Drowning Woman follows this story of a woman who is homeless. I believe she's escaping an abusive situation, and she runs into this other person who agrees to help her. It's a thriller and a mystery all wrapped up in one, and it's like a relatively normal sized book. I think it would only take me a few hours to finish this, so I figured why not give it a shot. It's something that is on my radar to check out. To my immense surprise, my library, one of them, had Killing Stalking Volume 1 immediately available. First of all, this book is heavy as fuck. Like, it doesn't look thick, but she's heavy. And I believe this is a manhwa. It is, ooh, I was gonna show you it. It's like, I don't think there's healthy things I can show you. I can show you the first page. There you go. I absolutely love the art style of it. And if you don't know what this book is about, this is a story of a man who is stalking another man who he's very obsessed with. And one day he breaks into Sungwoo, this guy's house, and he's like, oh my gosh, I'm in Sungwoo's house. I love him so much. Until he starts hearing noises from the basement and realizes that Sungwoo has a woman tied up in the basement and he's killing her. Sungwoo's like, oh my gosh, you found that I'm a serial killer. Well, I'm gonna kill you too. And our main character begs for his life because he's like, I'm in love with you. And so we enter a very, very toxic situation. This is a horror. It's a horror through and through and through and through. I cannot tell you more than that. There is, I wouldn't call it romance in here, because while these two characters certainly engage in sexual activities together, he's being held hostage, and Sungwoo is a serial killer. And I don't mean a serial killer in a dark romance way where he's like killing other serial killers or he's a vigilante. No, he kills whoever he wants, and often he's killing innocent people. Yeah. It's dark. It's dark as fuck. I gave it 5 stars. But no, I warned you. This is dark. There's offensive language in here. The situation is horrific. This is a horror manhwa, and you should go into it expecting a horror manhwa if you decide to pick this book up. I also picked up the Final Girl Support Group by Grady Hendrix. This is one of Grady Hendrix's older backlist books, although I recently learned it's his least popular. I'm also reading it for an upcoming video, which you will see very, very soon. In this story, we are following a group of women who are all final girls, meaning they are the survivors of catastrophic, horrific events, often serial killers, mass shootings, things like that, and they all have a therapy group, a support group, where they come and speak to each other until one of them goes missing, and of course that triggers every single one of them. I've heard very, very mixed things about this book, but I'm optimistic that I will enjoy it, so we shall see what my final thoughts are in that vlog. Iron Widow. I have checked this book out before, and I've never gotten to it, but I am participating in a weekend readathon as I am recording this video, so I definitely have plans to finish it this weekend. I say as if it's not 3 p.m. on a Saturday. Iron Widow, I have no idea what it's about. I know it's like sci-fi, something with robots, very feminist story, but I'm very excited to read this, so I can't wait to get to it. Did you think you were getting cohesive summary here? Because you sure as hell were not. The next book I have is Monstrilio, which I'm really excited to get to, but also nervous to get to. This is grief horror about 2 parents who recently lost their son, and the mother hears this kind of legend that if she takes a piece of her son and buries it, it will grow anew and they can have their son back. So she takes a piece of his lung and she buries it, and of course something starts growing. Like I mentioned, this is grief horror. It's a lot of conversations about these people and the way their lives are impacted by the loss of their son, but also by the growth of whatever this thing is. It sounds speculative. I think I'm really gonna love it, and so it's a book that I'm prioritizing over the next few weeks. I picked up this absolute fucking chunker of a book, Our Share of Night. Our Share of Night is a book that's interesting to describe. All I know is that Gabby from Gabby Reads really enjoyed this, and so do a lot of people who read Our Share of Night, despite the fact that I think it's something like 700 pages. Like, she's chunky. She is chunky. Yep, 588 pages. I've certainly read books longer than this, but usually in the ebook format. But anyway, in Our Share of Night, we're following a father and son. I believe they're in Argentina, and they are grieving over the loss of the mother of this little boy. So the father's wife, the mother of the son, and they have to go to her estate. And when they go to her estate, they realize that she's part of this ancient society, and the society is up to some really horrific things as they are pursuing eternal life, and they attempt to possess the son. The father and the son have to run away. I believe this is also told in dual timelines because we get flashback to the 1960s. I have no idea what to expect from this, but I'm hoping that I'm really going to enjoy this. Although, to be truthful, I may return this book and end up getting the ebook instead, just because I find the continuous scroll much, much easier for reading books that are this chunky. And finally, I have 3 mangas for you. One I already finished, and that's Donuts Under a Crescent Moon. I also saw this on Gabby's channel. This is a sapphic romance, the introduction of one, where we're following our main female character, Hanako, who is struggling right now in her life. She keeps trying to find love and forcing herself to feel those feelings, but you get a lot of her internal dialogue where she feels abnormal and strange because she doesn't have that kind of attraction. She doesn't experience it. She doesn't understand why that's something that she would want, but she feels this constant loneliness because she feels like people don't understand that about her, and that she needs to be in a relationship in order to soothe this loneliness, even as she fights her own battles for recognizing that that's not something that she actually wants, and she doesn't feel those kind of feelings until she runs into our other female main character, who is her co-worker in different departments in their office. And the co-worker is also living alone. She's been single for a long time. She's 5 years older. People constantly kind of make fun of her for being lonely and spending so much time by herself, but Hanako grows to admire her and they develop a relationship. This eventually becomes sapphic, and although I believe the mangaka for this never confirms whether or not these characters are on the asexual or aromantic spectrum, this first volume leads me to believe that perhaps they are on that spectrum, maybe like demi-romantic and asexual. I don't know, but I gave this 4 stars and I'm very excited to continue with the series. And then I picked up the first 2 volumes of The Way of the House Husband. My local library also always has volumes 3 and 4, but I went to a different library and they had volumes 1 and 2. So of course I picked them up. I don't know what this is about at all. I know it recently got an anime series, but The Way of the House Husband, from what I understand, is a man who used to work in either like an assassin or like an agent or something. He used to do that, but he's like retired and his wife is super wealthy and successful. So he's like, I'm just gonna be a house husband. It sounds cozy, but it also sounds chaotic, and I'm hoping that it can give me all of the feelings that I am looking for. I'm going to stupidly attempt to pick up this pile, but just bear with me. So here is the giant pile of library books, which doesn't even fit in the frame, that I currently have checked out. My library lets me keep books for anywhere from 2 to 6 weeks. Most of these books I have a 6-week checkout period for. I hope that you enjoyed this video. Let me know if you've read any of these books or if you end up picking any up. Let me know what you're reading from your local library, if you have a local library, and I will look forward to seeing you in my next video. Bye!